Hi, I'm Rowena and this is my channel, A Fuller World. Me, my husband and a couple of friends have spent the last few weeks exploring the lochs, hills and glaciers of Scotland and Iceland, and we're slowly making our way south towards some much needed European sun. We hope you continue to join us on our adventures. Avocado on that bad boy. So as you may or may not be able to tell, we are not in Stockholm anymore, neither are we in Sweden. We have caught the train down to Copenhagen here in Denmark, and we haven't experienced the city much yet, but first experiences we thought it would be really like Stockholm, but so far it does seem to be a little bit dirtier and a little bit busier. That being said, we've come down to the river while we're waiting for the hotel. We're going to have some lunch and a couple of drinks, and it's a really nice spot by the riverside, so I think we will enjoy it here once we get to explore a little bit more, but until then, cheers! Alright, I take it back a little bit. So now that I have a full stomach of mussels and mojitos, I'm feeling much better. The hotel here is beautiful. We're in a much nicer sort of neighbourhood. I think we might have just walked through a slightly dodgy neighbourhood to get from the station to where we're staying. But architecturally, Copenhagen does look quite different to Stockholm, so we're really excited to get out and explore. We've only really got sort of 36 hours here. It's a really short stopover, so we'll head out tomorrow and try and jam pack as much of the city in as we can and get a really good feel for Copenhagen. Of course, we couldn't start our morning without some Danish pastry. This one's like a cinnamon one, like a Danish version of the cinnamon scroll. It is delicious. So our first stop here in Copenhagen is the Rosenborg Castle behind me. The castle was built in 1606 and it was built as a royal residence, their summer residence, but it hasn't been used as a residence for a couple of hundred years now. So there's a few other castles here in Denmark. Of course, they've still got the royalty here, but we thought we'd go check this one out.
I heard it. Christian the Sixth's home.
So at the moment we're inside the Grand Hall, which I think is always the most impressive bit of the castle. This castle was built by Christian IV in the Dutch Renaissance style, and I just love how ornate everything is. Like just before we passed this huge dressing cabinet that also housed like a little mini orchestra, like a little giant music box. But everything is made with such detail and such craftsmanship. It's always just so beautiful to look at. So we've come out of all the ornate palatial rooms and we've come down to the basement. Down here they're housing all the armoury and artillery as well as the crown jewels display. So we're going to go have a look. This is the bit Kirk's interested in, all the armoury. I'd point out that the largest rafters in the cabinets were made for the Queen, of course. Pro tip, it does cost to enter the castle, but the gardens are free. I love palace gardens, they're always so beautiful and so open, and the lavender in them always smells so good. We've come down to Nyhavn, or the new harbour, for our next stop. It's basically this beautiful harbour with all these sort of old colourful houses along it. So we thought it'd be a great place to stop and grab some lunch and check out the canals here.
Yeah, that was back when I could call you mine, holding hands, falling into the riptide, over and over.
Of course, we couldn't come to Copenhagen without seeing the famous statue of the Little Mermaid, which is just behind me. It's very busy here, but obviously Hans Christian Andersen, who created a lot of the fairy tales, was from Copenhagen, so it's a little bit of an ode to him and his work. But it's a really small statue and a really crowded place, so I would recommend getting here early, but it's a beautiful little statue. So our last stop for the day is the Kastellet, which is a citadel up here in the middle of Copenhagen. Apparently it's one of the most well-preserved fortresses in the northern part of Europe, and it was active for about the same years as the Rosenborg Castle, so 1600s to 1800s. But it's really cool, they've turned it into basically a big public park, so it's this huge green area, as well as having a church and a windmill inside it too. So yeah, we're going to go have a little look around. Alright, so we're taking a bit of a break because it started to rain and thunder, so we've just found some barely shelter to sit it out. But I thought I would, in the meantime, revise my opinion of Copenhagen because I think it's actually a really lovely city. I really have enjoyed our day here, and even though it is sort of busy and spread out, it's spread out with lots of green and parks and old buildings, and it is actually a really beautiful place, so I definitely would come back here again. But we are rejoining TAM tomorrow. I forgot to mention the girls have been in Paris while we've been doing Scandinavia. and we're meeting her down in Munich for a few days, and we're going to explore a little bit of Bavaria. So that'll be really awesome, and we'll see you in Munich.